The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke and Kevin Price. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with eXp Realty.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Round one of the state playoffs are in the books. Hello, everyone, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, and we've got a great show for you tonight. Round one of the state playoffs saw very few upsets out of the 119 games played. Here in the 912, it went about as we predicted. We started off with 14 teams from the 912 in round one, and there will be 7 teams playing in round two. On this week's In Case You Missed It, 912 Sports will take a look back at a few games from last week and point out a few tidbits that you might not be aware of. All this and more on tonight's episode of On Air with 912 Sports. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Smoke, and this is In Case You Missed It. The Glen Academy Red Terrors fell to the Rome Wolves Friday night by a final score of 49-17. Glen traveled 377 miles one way to play in the first round. It was the 11th year in a row that Coach Rocky Hidalgo had led the Glen Academy team to the state playoffs. That's an impressive streak no matter how far you've got to go. It's tough to beat a team twice in the same season, and the Appleton County Pirates found out that last Friday night. Forced to play a region opponent in the first round by GHSA It almost cost the Pirates a chance to play in the second round. Appleton escapes with a 17-12 victory and will host Carver Atlanta this Friday. The Pierce County Bears lost to the Appleton County Pirates back on November the 1st, costing the Bears the #1 seed in AA. Now the Bears must go on the road for round 2 to Decatur, Georgia to face a solid Columbia team. Is this a year that the Bears break the road playoff curse? You see, the Bears, in their 42-year history, have never won a road playoff game at someone else's home field. Could this be the year? Both Coffee and Brunswick made easy work of their first-round opponents, both winning by 24 points or more. That sets up the marquee second-round game, not only here in the 912, but probably the entire state of Georgia. It'll be a matchup of the immovable object, the Coffee defense, versus the unstoppable force, the Brunswick offense. Something has to give, and I, for one, can't wait to see which one wins out. The Ware County Gators defense did a complete 180 in Friday night's win over Tucker. In the prior week's loss to New Hampstead, the Gators gave up 48 points. In the win this week, the Gators defense shut out an offense that came into the contest averaging 35 points a game. Oh, what a difference a week makes. That'll wrap it up for this week's In Case You Missed It. Stick around. We've got more On Air with 912 Sports right after these messages.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Spoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined here by, as always, by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how are we doing today?
Good, Sean. Good to be here talking high school football as we get ready to move into round 2 of the playoffs across the state. And I tell you what, the stakes get higher each week, and the subplots tend to grow. And we've got some juicy matchups out there. And as you look down the playoff road and look what can develop, you certainly, get some goosebumps sometimes. So I'm ready to go. I know you are as well.
Yeah, Kevin, started with 14 teams last week. We're down to 7 teams, only 6 games. The reason for that is the first game we're going to talk about, Kevin, is Coffee at Brunswick. We talked about this matchup last week. We felt pretty sure that both of these teams were going to get through round 1 with ease. That's exactly what happened. And now we've got exactly what we wanted. One of the biggest matchups in the state in the second round, and it's right there in your backyard. You're going to be on the PA call for it between the bricks there. But, Kevin, I've been thinking about this game pretty much all week since we knew it was coming. And here's what I've got to say about it. I don't know the answer, but I know the question. And the question is Brunswick ready for prime time? They've been out before the second round the last 8 times they've made it to the playoffs. And then you look across the field, you've got Coffee, the defending 5A's champ. These guys went 15-0 last year. They know how to, they know what these pressure cookers are like. They've been in these big games before, and they've cruised right through them. So my question to the Brunswick High Pirates, are you ready for the big stage? And are you ready for, to make that jump and to challenge people for a state championship?
Yeah, when you look at that, I mean, obviously, when you talk about big-time playoff games, Coffee's been in more, obviously going all the way to the state championship last year and then making some deep runs under Coach Pruitt as well. You mentioned it. Brunswick's fallen short, losing in the second round, several times in a row. But here's the thing. I really feel like Brunswick can't make that a burden. They have to make that a thing that they use as motivation, because this team certainly can do what some of the teams before them have not done. This team is better equipped to get the job done. Now, the opponent is Brunswick's problem. That's where the rubber has to meet the road here. And the opponent for Coffee is the problem as well if they want to move on. This is a dog-eat-dog matchup, a good Southeast Georgia high school football game. It's going to be football-type weather out there Friday night. Both sides of the field are going to be packed as far as the stands go, and that should bring out the best in both teams. I think the Pirates could thrive in a big game atmosphere. We know that Coffee can as well. Look here, no offense to the Coffee offense and the Brunswick defense, but the marquee matchup is that tough Coffee defense against this high-powered BHS offense. I joked with Coach Grady on the podcast yesterday that we did that's out now. If anybody needs to go to the concession stand or the bathroom, don't do it when the Coffee defense is on the field against that Brunswick offense, because you might miss something really good regardless of which side is doing it. But, Sean, I look at this game like this. If it gets into the 30s, into the 40s, that favors Brunswick. It's a high-scoring game. I don't know if Coffee can stay in that kind of ball game. If it stays around the 24 to 30-point mark, I think Coffee's got a chance. That means they're slowing down the Brunswick offense. The closer this game stays to 17 to 20 points, that means Coffee's doing a jam-up job on this Brunswick offense, and that means the pressure then goes over to the BHS defense to make sure it does slow down the Coffee offense and give its offense a chance to make one drive, one play, and win a lower scoring type ball game. But obviously, Coffee's good against the run, but they're good against the pass. We saw that when they shut down the Houston County team. But this Brunswick team has running backs galore that don't need much space. They can slip a tackle and go to distance at any point. And Grant Moore has made some good decisions throwing the football to a bevy of wide receivers. So this is a good challenge for that Coffee defense again, and a good challenge for the BHS offense. This is going to be one well of a game that could go either way, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I think the difference maker could be number 7 for Brunswick, Hezzy Kent. I mean, this kid is, he is a phenomenal athlete. He's big. He's trouble for any defense, and I think he could be the difference going in the game. And I looked at my notes here, Kevin. I wrote the unstoppable force against the immovable object, and that's kind of what I see. I see this, this matchup being, just like you talked about, that Brunswick offense against that Coffee defense. Who wins the most one-on-one battles? We'll see, what comes out of it Friday night. But again, one of the most marquee games in the state right there in your backyard. Going to be a good one. If you're in this area, there's not a whole lot of football in this area. That's the one spot if you want to go see a high school football game. Trust me, go pay your money. You're going to get every penny's worth. So it'll be a good one. But we'll move on, Kevin. Next game up we're going to look at is Ware at North Oconee. The Ware County Gators dispatched Tucker this past Friday night, 38-0. Their defense did a 180 for Ware County. They played really, really poorly against New Hampstead the week before, and then Tucker came into that game averaging 35 points a game. Ware shut them down, shut them out. Then you flip over to North Oconee. North Oconee beats, I forget who it was, Butler, I think it was 49-0. Eagles Landing 49-0. This game's going to be in Bogart, so Ware's going to have to get on that bus and make that long ride. I think it's like 230 miles up there to play a game. Ware hasn't done a lot of that. And we've been to Savannah and places like that, but haven't made that big, long 4-hour ride there. So we'll see if that affects the Gators. But again, North Oconee, one of the best teams in 4A, 11-0, 6-0 in region. So the Gators are going to have their hands full on Friday night.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we talked about it last week. Ware's been Jekyll and Hyde, although they certainly have played in a tough region. But it's like which Ware's team is going to show up, and the right team showed up last Friday night and took advantage of a home game and took advantage of a team that they're frankly better than on paper and went out and won that ball game going away. Now, this here is going to take the best Ware team showing up, and it's going to take that team's best effort to get the job done. Not only is it on the road, that is one thing, but the North Oconee team that they're going to play when they take the field is really, really good. You mentioned it. I mean, look at their offense. They're averaging right at 44 points a game. But the thing is, even if they don't score that much, they don't give up that much. They only give up a little over 8 points a game. You might as well say 9. So here's a really good team on both sides of the football. 2 scores that stand out when you look down their scores throughout the regular season. 36-13 over Clark Central, a pretty good team in an upper classification. And then also Jefferson, 35-0. So they handle 2 pretty good teams with ease. Hopefully Ware County does not fall into that category and can keep this game much closer going into the fourth quarter. But this is going to take a a good effort by Ware on both sides of the ball, and they're going to be coached up and ready to go. The kids have to go out and execute at a high level.
Yeah, Ware's going to have to about triple that point average that the North Oconee Titans are giving up. They need to be in that 24 to 30 range if they want to try to win this football game. So, like I said, a tall task for Ware County. But again, if the Ware County team that showed up at Benedictine, that showed up at Warner Robins, then they've got a shot. If some of the other Ware County teams showed up, could be a long ride home from Bogart for sure. Next game, Kevin, we're going to talk about Carver, Atlanta at Appleton County. And you and I kind of talked about this before we started recording this morning. What's going on at Appleton County? Appleton comes off that big win over Pierce County to sew up the region. Sitting there, they were going to be the number 1 seed, Kevin, and then they lose inexplicably to Fitzgerald, which, listen, Fitzgerald's a good team, but they shouldn't have beat Appleton at home. They fall all the way to the 6th. They do get this second round game at home. But they kind of struggled last week against Chris County. They only won that game 17-12 after, beating the brakes off of Chris earlier in the year. So not real sure what's going on over there. Carver of Atlanta comes into this game off of a big 36-0 win over Shaw, ranked 11. These guys can play football now. I know it's going to be a long ride down to Jimmy Swain Stadium, but Appleton's got to get back to that form they had 3 weeks ago and get away from what they've done in the last 2 weeks for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if that, big win over Pierce, instead of being, one of those downers, if you lose it, it's kind of a downer when they want it. They feel like maybe they're satisfied, fat and sassy. And I know the coaching staff doesn't feel that way. And certainly the players shouldn't. I mean, that should give them all the fire in their belly to go, hey, we can beat anybody if we can beat Pierce. And hey, they lost to Fitzgerald. That is what it is. But, when it's a do or die situation, I mean, maybe they were scoreboard watching and knew, that they could go through the motions and beat Chris, but, that's no time to take an opponent lightly in the first round of the playoffs. You at least go out and get off the bus and get up 30 or so to nothing before you kind of take it easy. And, this game was, a lot closer to that all the way through it. So, it's kind of gut check time or that kind of deal for, Appleton. Let's see if the real Appleton team is going to show up and make a serious run at this thing. Otherwise, I'm like you. I'm a little bit concerned about what's going on there. But that aside, I mean, this opponent they're about to play is really good. Ranked, 9th in the state, I think, 8-3 record overall. 5 shutouts, Sean. Now, you could talk about maybe the caliber of their competition in some of those games, but, they're a real good defensive team. One score that stands out in my mind is a 15-12 loss. Now, it was a loss, but still held a good team to 15 points, and that's Stateville Charter. So that's a game that kind of caught my attention about how good they potentially really are on defense. So I think this is going to kind of be a low-scoring defensive game. We know Appleton can win it. They did one like that against Pierce. So it could be a race to 20 in this game. If you can put 20 points on the scoreboard and your defense is playing well, you might could win it. That's for either team.
Yeah, we'll see if, like I said, if Appleton can keep rolling and move on to the third round. But, Kevin, let's take a break. We'll come back and finish up with the final 3 games here for November the 22nd. But you're watching On Air with 912 Sports. Stick around. We'll be right back after these messages.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Sean Spoke. He's Kevin Price, and we're discussing the final 3 playoff games here in the 912 for November the 22nd. First game up, Kevin, is Pierce at Columbia. The Pierce County Bears got to go on the road after losing that game to Applin. They lost their number 1 seed there. They got to go on the road to face Columbia. Columbia's a very, very good, talented team. You look at the records, Kevin. You got Pierce at 9-1 and in the regular season, and you got Columbia at 5-6. And you're like, oh man, Pierce County's gonna mop the field with these guys. But when you take a look at the schedule that these cats have played, it's pretty amazing. But Pierce coming off a big win over Jackson, 56-0, and then Columbia beat Butler 46-12. So should be a good one up there in Decatur this Friday night.
Yeah, I tell you, it'd be interesting to see what the point spreads are when they come out, for this game. But it looks like, holy cow, Pierce is the lower seed by these power rankings, but they're the 10 seed, I guess, and Columbia is the 7. That's why Pierce has to go on the road. But, when you look at this thing, keep in mind that the region champions had to be in the 1 through 8 slots, and then Pierce had to fall, out of that realm. Otherwise, I do think, Pierce would certainly be higher. But when you look into the numbers, like you said, and bear with me, Sean, because I'm going to go through it here. When you look at this team in Columbia, their record could be misleading. They probably certainly are better than their record. Look at this non-region schedule. If there's a team more battle-tested than this team in the postseason right now, or even when it started, show me. I want to see it. I have family that live in Missouri, and, they are the show me state, but I would need you to show me a team more battle-tested than this one. Look at this. They lost to Cartersville 40-0. They lost to Carrollton and that big-time quarterback they have, 35-7. They lost to Douglas, another really big school, 46-21. They lost to Callaway. Now, that is another AA school, but it was close, 22-16, and they're really good. They lost to Cale, 34-6, another higher classification team. And they lost to Douglas County, another higher classification team, 47-14. That's not a cupcake non-region schedule. They took on the biggest and the best. And then, of course, they went undefeated the rest of the way. But I tell you what, Sean, put all that aside. I mean, this is still Pierce County. I know Pierce is a little bit concerned because of the athletes they do have. And I tell you what, they can't take them lightly because Camden did a few years ago in their region or in their season opener. They were already looking at playing Brunswick in round 2 or in the second game of the season and admitted their mistake. And Columbia came down there and beat Camden in Kingsland 13-10. So Pierce doesn't want to fall victim to that. Obviously, the scenario much different. They're in the playoffs here, but Pierce should win the ball game, but they might get a good challenge here from an athletic team on both sides of the football.
Yeah, they're going to need good outputs from Cade McGatha, both running and throwing the ball. Their defense is going to have to stand up and hold these guys, hopefully, somewhere south of, 20 points. If they do that, I like Pierce's chances. But again, I think if Columbia is able to get up close to, 24 or 30 points, then this game could be close. And who knows, you get a late kick or a late touchdown or, Pierce has a, late turnover. And the next thing you know, it's get out the basketball equipment. So we'll see what happens there. But Pierce going to go on the road 240 miles away from the house there to play this football game. We'll see if they can get it done. Next game up, Kevin, Jeff Davis at Fannin County. Again, this is one of those region or classifications that everybody got shuffled and reseeded. Fannin comes in as the number 1 seed. Jeff Davis sitting there at 16. Jeff Davis with a big win over Washington County, 33-17. Fannin rolled. I think their score was like 41-7 over Vidalia. But talk about a long ride. Jeff Davis got to go all the way to Blue Ridge, Georgia, 280 miles away from the house. This will be a good one there in single A Division I.
Well, Jeff Davis did overcome their first round challenge. They beat Waco, Washington County for, the second time this year, beat them in the season opener as well, beat them in the playoff opener the other night, but this is a different animal, obviously. And Fannin's kind of the typical really good playoff team, a team that could go deep in the brackets. They can outscore you if they have to because they have a high-scoring offense. But a lot of the good championship teams and the coaches that still believe championships are won with defense, this is a team that can win it with their defense too. They average over 40 points a game. They only give up a little over 10. So obviously they're tough on defense. and can win a low-scoring game too if they really have to. Their closest game, I think, was their season finale, 30-27 in a region game over Gordon Lee. Everything else they've won going away. 2 100-yard rushers in that backfield, so they obviously can control the game with those guys and put up points. Tough assignment for Jeff Davis, especially on the road, but hopefully they can go in there and challenge those guys, get this game to the fourth quarter, and see if they can make something happen.
Yeah, and the one silver lining there, Fannin is the number 1 seed. I'm not disputing that, but let's face it, they're not the number 1 team in this classification. Toombs County, I think, is by far the best team. Toombs County couldn't be the 1 seed because they lost to Savannah Christian, which is a private school, one of the schools that got pulled out. That moved them down to the 6th seed. So I guess for psychological, if you're Coach Helton there, you're telling your teams, we're not really playing the number 1 team, guys. So a little psychological advantage there because Toombs, I think, is far and away the best team in Single A Division I. So, but we'll move on. Last game that we're going to talk about, last game in the 912, Clinch at Johnson County. Clinch comes into the game, big winners over Warren, 34-22 at the Boneyard this past Friday night. Johnson County had a close game with Pelham, I think 16-8 was that game. And for people that do not know who Johnson County is, this is Wrightsville, Georgia. This is the home of Herschel Walker. So we'll see if Clinch can make that. I think it's 130 miles up there to Wrightsville from Homerville. If they can go on the road and get a win and continue that march toward the state championship.
Well, I tell you what, I like the good folks over in Homerville, and I like Clinch County. They've got a great little single A program down there. But if they were playing Herschel Walker in Johnson County, they might as well not even go because he ran a rough spot over everybody, and he would do it on Clinch too. But and certainly don't take offense to that. Herschel Walker is one of my heroes, certainly when it comes to football. And I'm sure a lot of Clinch County folks like Herschel Walker as well. But, hey, they're not playing that Johnson County team and the great Herschel Walker. They are playing a good Johnson County team, though. They are 9-2 on the season. Their defense is pretty good. I think they give up just a little less than 10 points a ball game. Now, you could maybe look at the caliber of schedule, and when it comes to schedules, that's what I want to talk about here. Probably have not played the schedule that the Clinch County Panthers have played. They haven't played Brooks. They haven't played Irwin. They haven't even played Charlton. They haven't played Wilcox, and they also haven't played Miller, 2 other playoff teams that, by the way, won in the first round as well. Clinch played all those folks, and of course comes in with a sparkling record themselves. But when you look at this game too, Sean, a common opponent. Johnson County lost to Warren County 28-20. Now that was way back at the end of August, and Warren County was the team that Clinch just beat the other night, 34-22. So if you're into comparative scores, that means that Clinch County should win this ball game, and I do think Clinch will travel well, go play well, and win this ball game, certainly since Herschel Walker is not in the backfield.
Clinch got their own version of Herschel Walker, and Aaron Bryant.
He's pretty good.
He's real good. He's had a monster season, and I look for him to have a big night up there on Friday night. But that's going to wrap it up for all the games scheduled for November the 22nd. Like I said, we've got 6 games and 7 teams in. We'll see who makes it on to round 3. But stick around. We got more On Air with 912 Sports coming up right after these messages.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.